You know, Tyson, now that it looks like you're back in peak form, and you know, Schwartz is a guy who comes to fight. He keeps his feet planted. He likes to exchange. Do you think that gives you a good opportunity to get a knockout in this fight?
Listen, I am the master of disaster. King of Sting. Yeah. What I do in the division of heavyweight boxing is very unusual. I'm a master of sweet science. You know, I'm not just some average bum who goes in there looking for a swing knockout. I am a calm, cool, calculated technician. And what you'll see is a masterclass performance.
And Tyson.
Nothing more, and you wouldn't expect anything less.
And Tyson, it sounds like the WBC wants to see you and Dillian Whyte fight for a #1 contender spot. Do you like that fight, and do you think it actually happens?
I don't think it's going to happen, to be honest. Dillian Whyte for a mandatory slot, not interested. You know, I'm the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. As far as I'm concerned, Dillian Whyte's a bum, and I'll give him a knockout beating if he wants one. But, you know, it is what it is. I've got to get past Tom Schwartz first. And as for people telling me what to do, it doesn't go down very well.
A few moments later.
What's up, fight fans? It's your man 3K the Boss, a.k.a. Mr. Two Hands Up. Fight. You already know what it is. Now let's go straight in, bitches. Okay. Rule 12. Divisions of protocol and a purse offer. The net purse offer, after deduction of the WBC to certification fees, shall be divided as follows. 70% for the champion and 30% for the challenger. B, 50% for each contender in the case of a vacant title or an elimination bout. C, 55% of the champion and 45% to the interim champion in the event of such a bout. What's up, fight fans? It's your man 3K the Boss, aka Mr. Two Hands Up. You already know what it is. Okay, so Tyson Fury threatens to vacate the WBC title if Dillian Whyte does not agree to the terms, says Bob Arum. Well, contrary to what you fans are throwing out in the media and contrary to what you guys believe, and no matter how much, you know what I'm saying, fighter dick you guys be sucking, here's the truth of the matter. You know, Tyson Fury does not hold the cards in this situation. I repeat, Tyson Fury does not hold all the cards. Tyson Fury does not hold all the cards. Tyson Fury does not hold all of the cards in this situation. I guess you guys are so used in bathing in corruption, lies, bullshit, and deceit that comes with the boxing world that you guys are willing to go along with it as long as it favors your narrative. And see, that's the thing I'm starting to understand about boxing. That's a certain thing I'm starting to understand about promotional outfits, and more importantly, these so-called fans of boxers. You guys lean in any direction of where your favoritism lies instead of just resting where a real human being should reside, right in the middle. What's the fact, what's the truth, and what's not the truth. But see, you guys won't do that. And see, here's the, you know, I made this distinction, and I can truly see and understand it for what it is. Now, if it wasn't Dillian Whyte in that situation, and some of you guys' other favorites, you guys would be, you know what I'm saying, sitting there talking about, oh man, this is fucked up. I can't believe they even did it like this. If they even got it to a first year where he wouldn't even have got his title shot, you guys would have freaking blew your freaking lid. If it would have got to the second year that he didn't get his title shot, you guys would be freaking livid, freaking with your hashtags. You guys would be going crazy on every promotion. You guys would be yelling to the moon about the injustice that is to your favorite fighter. But see, why is it when it comes to guys like Dillian Whyte, you guys say nothing at all? Why is it that when it comes to Dillian Whyte, you guys are acting like, you know, he's blessed with this amazing opportunity that you act like he didn't fucking make on his own, he didn't pave the way and make on his own, or he isn't deserving of, that he's just supposed to bend his ass over, take it with no Vaseline, and just let them motherfuckers just screw him as hard as they want for as long as they want. And it's a fucked up situation. Now, I started off reading the rules out of the WBC handbook about mandatories, interim champions, current title holders, etc., and the percentages, because I wanted you guys to understand that the leg that you guys think Tyson Fury has to stand on, and the on all fours position that you guys are tripping. I mean, straight tripping about Dillian Whyte having to take a stance in. Man, you guys are all the way bugged out because Tyson Fury once again does not hold all of the cards. Tyson Fury is supposed to split that purse 55-45 to the interim champion. Now, he isn't willing to do that. Now, the only way, now there's one way that there's a loophole thrown in this situation. If promoter / manager decides to call the freaking the WBC and request a 70-30 or 80-20. Now, of course, Mauricio Sulaiman, crooked ass, is going to oblige. That is the only card, the last card that Tyson Fury could play. Outside of that, Tyson Fury has to fight that man or vacate that belt. Regardless of whatever, Dillian Whyte becomes a champion, and your so-called fighter, Tyson Fury, becomes nothing but a ducker and a coward. And I say these things because you guys don't ever have a problem with Tyson Fury saying he'll vacate the title because of Dillian Whyte. You guys had no problem with Deontay Wilder saying out loud that he could freeze him out for a couple of years. I don't give a fuck if you don't fancy the fighter. I don't care if you don't fancy the style or whatever the case may be. Man, right is right and wrong is wrong, and you guys are what's wrong with boxing.
And this is some bullshit.
Now, in certain situations, like it says in the WBC ruling, when it comes to certain opponents or certain fighters who have outstanding marketability, who already are garnering, the highest pays the sport can offer and is filling out certain reasons. Basically, your marquee fighters. You can make it a situation to where it's a 70-30, 60-40, 60-40 type of situation. But it has to be done in advance before the purse bid. Now, in all honesty, fight fans, I would honestly be on all board and agreeing with, Tyson Fury is deserving of such a, a split with a wide margin as 70-30, 80-20, etc., etc. If Tyson Fury proved that he can move the units on his own, if Tyson Fury proved that he fills up the seats, etc., etc. But in all of Tyson Fury's career, he's never been able to do such a thing. Tyson Fury wasn't even beloved in his own country, so when I think about it like this, if I just want to use the facts, okay, let's start with, Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz. Well, if you didn't know, now you know. Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz only sold 5,489 tickets and had an 882,000 gauge. That doesn't show Tyson Fury's stardom.
No, sir.
It would say that Tyson Fury is clearly on the opposite end of that spectrum if we're talking about his star. That shit ain't shining bright at all. Now, let's go to Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin. Tyson Fury versus Otto Wallin sold just about 577 tickets, for Tyson Fury's gritty victory over Otto Wallin at a 20,000-seater. I repeat, a 20,000-seater arena in Las Vegas with a crowd made to look bigger on TV by just 3,800 fans who were let in for free. Just 3,577 tickets were sold for Tyson Fury's enthralling points victory over Otto Wallin. Now, does that point to Tyson Fury being a star?
No, sir.
Absolutely not. Now, fight fans, we've looked at the two, matches that Tyson Fury has had on American soil. We saw the ticket sales, and we've even seen that, over 3,800 fans in the case of Otto Wallin, which was his second performance on American soil. That shit tanked even further with only 3,500 plus tickets sold and 3,800 comps. So let's actually look at when Tyson Fury is supposed to be matched up with a name, and a name from American soil. Let's look at Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury 1. Reported by Dan Raphael via ESPN, who's the very well-known former senior writer of ESPN, sources state that Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury fight generates 325,000 pay-per-view buys. Now, goddamn it, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed here. I ain't the dullest either. But if I'm looking at those numbers and you're talking about we're bringing two notable, well-known heavyweights together and they can only amass about 160,000 in buys apiece, that would show me that neither one of these guys are stars, nor does any one of these guys recognize these two as must-see TV. Clearly, 325,000 buys would show me that Tyson Fury isn't the star that, you know, Bob Arum and his team is trying to make out for this so-called 80-20 split, or 75-30, or 75-25 split that is so deserving of Tyson Fury. I just can't see it. All right, fellow fight fans, now we're on the roll. Now let's not stop with this, you know, timeline just yet. Now let's go ahead and take a look at Tyson Fury versus Deontay Wilder 2. And let's read an article based on the pay-per-view sales, etc., etc. Despite hopes of top-ranked Supremo Bob Arum, who said he would be disappointed if pay-per-view buys in the US was less than 2 million, it appears as though the official number will fall just short of 1 million.
Congratulations.
According to The Athletic, as verified by Sports Illustrated's Chris Mannix, the official figure will land in the region of 800 to 850,000 buys. Privately, the senior figures of ESPN and Fox Sports hope to achieve around 1 to 1.1 million pay-per-view buys just to break even. Now, fight fans, am I gloating here? Or, I mean, let me slow it down for the retards if something seems amiss.
Slow it down.
With two hands, the first fight did 325,000, and the second fight does 850K. It would seem like that's a success. Well, no, you got to pay attention to the numbers here. We got to understand that the second fight was supposed to be an even bigger fight. The second fight, you know, Deontay Wilder tried to force the hand and force promotion to get involved because they didn't really like the way the first fight went. And based off all the controversy in the first fight, yes, the fucking second fight should supersede the first fight sales. But what you guys aren't understanding is it would have taken these guys 1.1 million pay-per-view buys in the States just for the companies to break even. They only did 850,000 to 800, says Chris Mannix. But from what I've heard from Fox, ESPN, and a couple of other places, allegedly it didn't even do that. It only did around 700 to 750K. So regardless of whether it did 700,000 or 800,000, it would show us that they weren't even able to break even. So the purses that these guys thought they were going to receive based off the fight hitting a number like 1.1 million, they didn't even receive that. So that would show this dude isn't who he says he is.
Man, this is some bullshit.
And a lot of you guys are arguing, but see, you guys aren't even looking at things like this, and you aren't even looking at how, you know, what he's asking for makes absolutely no sense. Now, I could go into Wilder Fury 3 too, but I mean, just showing you off 1 and 2, you guys understand the point I'm trying to make. Nah, I'm petty. Let's cover all angles. Why not? Fury versus Wilder 3 pay-per-view buys. The domestic haul falls way below expectations. Imagine that. Let's look exactly at what the sales are. Fury versus Wilder 3. Returned just under 600,000 purchases on the domestic front, according to Yahoo Sports analyst Kevin Ioli, with another 300,000 coming in from overseas. The pay-per-view cost $79.99 to purchase and was split between ESPN and Fox Sports. Fury stopped Wilder by way of the 11th round knockout, but even gate sales in excess of 10 million. The best scenario has Wilder vs. Fury 3 breaking even after factoring in the guaranteed purse bids and the promotion costs, as well as the aggressive marketing campaign. So, when we speak in reference of an 80-20 split, and I'm breaking down the rules on how the split is supposed to be 55-45 between champion and interim champion, but then of course Mauricio Sulaiman in his crooked ways leaves the ability for a promoter to call and request an even larger split for his champion, while showing you the champion doesn't even move units, so the 80-20 won't suffice in my mind based off the facts. So miss me with your 80-20 bullshit. Dillian Whyte has made himself a star on his own, climbing the rank, fighting top 10 opposition, back to back to back to back. This is something we can't even say about Tyson Fury. But what we can say about Tyson Fury is that motherfucker couldn't even move a total of 10,000 freaking tickets.
Holy shit.
On American soil within 2 fights. And the Deontay Wilder, and putting him next to what's supposed to be another top heavyweight, another champion, while he's running around with this lineal myth, when we know all of those things get stripped from you when you pop dirty, but this is the way they want to sell a little prostitute. You know, it would show that this guy is not a star. So to request that 80-20 and then for it to make sense and Mauricio to go along with it would show what they're trying to do here. But once again, Tyson Fury doesn't hold the cards. And all of you individuals that sit back and say Dillian just needs to take it, he just needs to take it, he just needs to take it. Nah, screw all of that. Comes to a point to where you're tired of being screwed over and somewhere you got to receive justice somewhere, somehow. But it ain't happening. But I want you guys to understand why that 80-20 bullshit don't fly with me. So if Tyson Fury vacates, fuck it. He needs to be dogged out for being the same duck that he tried to be in 2020, in 2019, and 2021. Because clearly he has always shot down the opportunity of fighting Dillian Whyte, threatened to vacate last year, and he opted for an opportunity to fight Dillian Whyte for a so-called WBC diamond belt, and then when the WBC forced it, he completely was dismissive of that.
A few moments later.
Hi, this is Tyson Fury, aka the Gypsy King. I just want to say a special message to the WBC, who supported me in my comeback and been very fair with me over the years. Hi Pepe, hi Mauricio. I recently saw your quote about fighting for the interim title against Dillian Whyte, and I'm very thankful for the opportunity. But what I suggest is, because I beat Deontay Wilder, and we all know what happened, I didn't get the decision, but I still won, and the world knows. I propose that we make me and Dillian Whyte for the WBC diamond belt and not the interim belt. And I'll take care of Dillian Whyte and I'll knock him out within 6 rounds. I accept the challenge.
So, congratulations. This dude don't know where he want to stand, but I do know where Bob Arum and Tyson Fury stand, and you can literally see the writings on the wall with the bullshit they trying to kick, bro.
Man, this is some bullshit.
Dillian Whyte as your mandatory. We weren't quite sure.
How many days has he been my mandatory?
Well, not yours.
1.
Yeah, not yours.
One.
Yeah.
Yesterday. So welcome to the big GK world.
Right, I'm like, he's not been your mandatory, he's just been the WBC mandatory for.
Problem.
Yeah. Well, here we are. He's finally getting his shot, but this time it's against you. Everyone was anticipating it being against Wilder, but here we are. What do you make of Dillian?
I know Dillian a long time. We go back a long way. He's improved a lot over the last few years, but the outcome will always be the same. I'll knock him out.
And one more thing, fight fans, you know, you just heard Tyson Fury said that, you know, his mandatory issues aren't his problem. He said that Dillian Whyte has only been his mandatory for 1 day, but you know, even the pundit and even he can sit up there and have a laugh about how many days this guy's been a mandatory. Now, he's done went through 2 goddamn different heavyweights, and he's still a mandatory, and he still hasn't got a shot. So if you guys can't sniff out the injustice, that's because you've completely cut off your nose to be 100% dismissive of the senses and smelling out the bullshit. Now, like I said, man, I stand on the, you know what I'm saying, I stand on the side of what's right and never what's fucking wrong. And here's another thing, when we speak of percentages and Bob Arum and Tyson Fury and all of that bullshit, you know, he just said that he's just stated he's bipolar, so you don't know which way the wind blows with this dude's emotions, so you'll never know which way the wind blows with his truth. If it's so fucking easy and the outcome will be the same, what person is really gonna stress more about the money and making it more of a headache to make the fucking fight happen? Because Dillian Whyte been a $5 million fighter. So for me, $5 million is an insult at 25% for the interim champion. We know the rules, we know what's going on, and by what you're stating, if it's so easy to make this shit happen, it shouldn't be this much dispute or percentages or giving the fucking man what he wants. And as a matter of fact, even you said in the interview one time, Mr. Bipolar, you can swing either way on any given day, that what's happened to Dillian Whyte is fucked up, and you said last year in the interview that you should give him a title shot because he's been a mandatory for over 1,000 days, and you think that's bullshit. Now, fight fans, before I go, this is the last thing I'm gonna say. Apparently, Tyson Fury doesn't ever want to fight any fighters that don't want to lay down, hug them, you know what I'm saying, be a butt buddy with them, kiss them, let them cradle them at weigh-ins, or pretty much just come into the situation already acknowledging the fact that they gonna roll over. You know, that's how he got his pussy split messing with Otto Wallen, thinking he was just gonna roll over. When it come to Dillian Whyte, he ain't gonna bend, he ain't gonna break. So I don't care how much you like the dude or how much you think his style isn't intriguing to you. Look, do you want your favorite fighter from position? Or do you want to see any fighter in this position? Because this is going to completely destroy the sport if we continue being dismissive of bullshit like this. As we always say at the end of this shit, it costs you nothing to play kissy mouth, Mr. I'm going vacate. I only want to fight somebody who going to give me a break. No mind. Respect. Still motherfucking ball.